All right, all right, all right. Here we are. Let's talk tridactyls. Why not? What else do you want to talk about in this world? We could talk politics. We could talk sports. We're here to talk about tridactyls and give away a head today. We are going to be giving away the white plastic ones now. That's the resin I got. White plastic, white resin. It's a pretty good one. He's really weighted in the front. I don't know. I think I really spun this guy's mold around. So there's a bunch of extra weight there, but that's good. So we'll be giving this guy away. You can paint him yourself. I'm really not an artist, so I've been painting when I can, but it's not really my jam. So maybe I'll just make them and we'll give them away for now. So at the end of the show, will we do an hour show today? I don't know. 30 minutes to an hour. So what's that? 45 minutes. Do we have any exciting news today? I don't think we have anything too exciting. We're definitely going to go over some of the morphology, what some of it means. And let's start by taking a look at, this Josephina footage here from, where am I? Am I in this? You don't see me. Oh, okay, that's all right. No big deal. Let's go maximize that. All right, so there's some Josephina footage from over at the-alien-project.com. You can see the website up top there. And so I just wanted to look at this just to demonstrate once again that we can see a pineal gland complex, pineal parietal complex. This is some new footage. Nice of them not to have the watermarks on it for a change, so we can see everything clearly. Do these creatures have two brains, I wonder? or just two distinct lobes? So we're going through the various planes here. Oh, that's an interesting shot right there. So we're coming in underneath. See the unique, almost circular rib cage. I think we can see a cloaca there. All right. So I always like to check to see what this particular site has going on with them. Oh, that's a little sneak peek there. We don't want to show that yet. Really, I want to just find the sagittal view of her head. Where was that from before? I hope this is the right footage. Maybe it was this one. Or this one. Oh, I don't know now. I thought it was that one. There it is. In fact, it's already set on the screen. So take a look at that. We have, if you can see up top here. So same formation as Alberto. And again, this is Josephina. So, we predicted, I say we, the constant companion theory, myself. We predicted that there was going to be a pineal gland for a couple of reasons. One, in the cultural record, Oceania, perhaps in Hindu culture, there is always the third eye that is shown. In fact, we can take a look at, let's look at Montserrat, because she happens to have an implant right maybe where a third eye would be. Maybe even where you'd put a prayer box up top too. Look at that up there. Let's zoom in. So, was Montserrat a participant in a trephination? Did they have to go into her skull because maybe there was a difficulty in the birthing process? And look at that. Just like the little prayer boxes you might put attached to your head. How interesting is that? Teflon? Is that what it's called? Wow, that is really pronounced, isn't it? I don't remember it looking like that on her actual body. You may have to look at pictures to make sure that is accurate and not just some byproduct of the scan. So let's take a look at one of the info memes I made this week, bridging the invertebrate-vertebrate divide. So what I mean by that is, since these tridactyls have morphology that is, sure, it is very much like a neotenic, the young developing amphibians. Sure, there are things that are very similar, like the tubular heart. So I learned that even human fetuses will have a tubular heart at a young age. So this feature, plus the strange feature that made a lot of people question the validity of these beings, was the head to torso connection. There was limited cranial separation. The cranial chamber isn't separated from the rest of the torso, which, as strange as that sounds, again, isn't too far off for perhaps a young axolotl, but it's more aligned with cephalopods and invertebrates. So, which is why I suggest that we should take a look at these. So if this tubular heart is peristaltic, like it suggests, meaning no chambers, no pumping, just the flow, something like an insect might have, well, this could infer that possibly beings like the smaller tridactyls and And just the general morphology dates from hundreds of millions of years ago. If, in fact, they're for some reason keeping these, retaining what we think are neotenic young youth traits of youth. Now, look at here, too. We seem to dismiss the unknown percentage of the samples of Victoria's DNA, but it lines up with this invertebrate traits that these guys have. So if we sort of extrapolate, suggesting that, well, if there's 65% unknown and it doesn't match 700,000 species that we currently have registered, when does that come from? When does that unknown DNA come from? Because it doesn't have to come from far, far away in a galaxy far, far away. It just has to come from our own deep time. And that's kind of what I'm suggesting with these bodies, is that, you know, as unique and anomalous it is to have all these different morphological traits, like, let's go ahead and look at Victoria, those samples that she is from here. So here's a nice gory Victoria. What's cool about this? What can we learn by looking at this here? Well, we can see that interclavicle, a sort of proto-furcula. You could also see how the stomach has ribs. Would that be cool? Maybe we need that. We need stomach ribs. And that's called the gastralia, which is still found today in crocodilians. Sure as that interclavicle can be found in amphibians. Now, of course, Victoria's the one with the head missing. So what else do we want to look at here? There was something else I felt like. Well, we can go back and look at her back end. And we can look at that fused lower sacrum. So it was that fused lower sacrum with that distinctive angle in it that I suggested, oh, that's actually really something we could call a Euro style, which is something more akin to what a frog would have, or a frog would have if it lost its tail from its youth. So looking down at Victoria, so I don't want to spend too much time on this gore here, but it's good to become familiar with what we're talking about. You know, of course, the other strange things is the singular forearm bones, which is very unusual. And even the three fingers is a little unusual considering all the different other morphology that these creatures have. Because if you were just to base their appearance in the geologic time record just on that, it might only be 70 million years ago. But we have to go back far enough in time where all these traits are together. These weren't traits that were evolved over time, I don't think. I think these are a Genesis taxa. They are some sort of creature that is maybe produced by the Earth even, or of course, you know, we can talk about other intelligences and whatnot, but hey, here we go. We got some people talking here. Let's see. We got Gear. What's up? How are you doing this Sunday? It's the first of the month. That's right. 1st of June. We're about to go into summer. I do have some leftover Christmas presents I'm trying to take care of today before. I'd hate to have that go into summer. We got Universe coming in here, rocking a Chucky doll. Rest in peace, or not peace, Ed Gale. And we got another comment here from Gears. Yeah, well, I mean, if these things are some sort of Genesis taxa, that means they've been here for hundreds of millions of years, and perhaps their whole purpose is to create a variety of life forms on a planet. Then perhaps all things are related to them. I'm reminded of the Tao. From the one comes the two, from the two comes the three, and from the three comes the many. So there's probably some cosmological beliefs here. Yep. So we were looking at some of the info memes. We've probably gone over them already today. Hey, you know what? We got with you guys on here. We'll have to give you guys a couple extra chances to win ahead, I think, today, since you're here today. So don't go away without choosing a second number or a third number, whatever it is. All right. So we're talking about the possibility that these things are bridging the invertebrate-vertebrate divide thanks to their particular heart, thanks to the fact that their cranium connects with their torso, and if they do have a peristaltic heart, they probably have hydrostatic limbs, meaning the limbs, like the extension, the theoretical extension of their neck is due to some hydrostatic limbs. So again, not unlike an insect or a cephalopod. So I think we went over some of these last week. This is just a list of the variety of strange features these creatures have, which makes sense, again, if there's some sort of Genesis taxa. They likely have the ability to perform parthenogenesis. It looks like they are born pregnant because we see that there are some eggs within the fetuses that look like they're developing. A little bit better shot of the heart here. You can see that it is tubular. It is one of the only identifiable organs. And of course, we looked at Josephine today, and here's Albert. We're looking at the pineal gland, which again, I predicted culturally it would be there. I gave us a name for the kappa, and I suggested that kappa is going to be the house of that pineal gland. There it is. That's pretty incredible. And that's what I mean when I say things like the archaeology is predicting the biology. You know, when I discovered those larvae in Artemis's eggs, one of them hatching, it was a little pig dragon like this that inspired me. When I saw these artifacts from the ancient Chinese, the Han culture, I said, I think these people know very well about these dragon beings, and they made jade artifacts to honor them. So sure enough, with that information of this pig dragon, I was able to locate the larva in Artemis's eggs, and I believe Luis's too. So the archaeology is predicting the biology. Once we get some really clear shots of the larva and the eggs, then I think it's going to become even more apparent what I'm talking about. But for now, let's just focus on some of the biology. We're going through some of the info memes that I've been making the past week or two, keeping us current with what's happening. Oh, yeah, so here's something cool. So I will be appearing at my second Nerd Night. Actually, technically, I have spoken once before, not on this topic, needless to say. But this will be cool. This will be in Miami. Here we go. We got some people talking here. Let's see. Going back, we got Universe, singular bone structure, hollow bone structure. That's right. We got the hollow bones. Yep. What we got here from whales have hands under their fins. Yeah, I always have trouble opening that link from where I'm at. I have to go to the extra place. Can you check out this post? I'll try. Let's see. Here we go. We got Uni talking again. I've been led to believe from various sources that J-type beings may waddle like a duck, or as a skeptic said before, such hip functions would make them traverse goofy like Pinocchio. Yeah, my theory is a sort of satyr type pose, I call it. Something like you would see Pan perhaps engaged in. Let me go ahead. Let's go ahead and look up that link. Thanks for watching. This is the Constant Companion Theory at Tridactyls, where we are fed by the alienproject.com and tridactyls.org with all of the researchers, the hands-on researchers, hard work. And then I just sort of take that, extrapolate on it, and see where they were going, and see if I can shed some light on some of this. We're going to go check out this link because it talks about the whales and their interesting hand morphology. Let's see. Trying to find where you put that. It's right here. There we go. All right, we're going to Reddit. Oh, it says, ew, what the hell? Is that? Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that before before I even show that. I've been like, really? Wow. Yeah, what does that tell you? So you guys have to look that up yourself. Go, someone else look that up. Fins as hands. I'd want to research that before I show it. That is wild. Yeah, I mean, there's the theory going around. We talked last week about the aquatic ape theory. There's another gentleman who believes he has evidence that humans have pig background to us, which is why we have so much similarities between the two. And pigs are part of what I suggest is part of that tuber basket in Southeast Asia, where these beings may have been using the islands to control the various genetic work, whether it was on Homo erectus or dogs or chickens. Oh, okay. Some interesting stuff. Let's see. All right. Yeah, that's cool. So we're talking about the way they walk. I, of course, have done some research into, I believe that, I don't know if you know this, Uni, but that they could be quadrupedal. So let's go ahead and why don't we pull that up? It's funny. I think like something is kind of like when like the older you get, you forget how far away something is in time. And it's like, oh, I just made that the other day. And it's like, well, no, that's that meme is already super old. So here we go. Let's share this. Remind everybody here. So with those singular hand bones, that unicarpal and that singular bone, it could very well encourage quadrupedalism, which, that tracks with the mythology also. Talking about water horses and centaurs and all of that, unicorns. I suggest that the whole of our cosmology and mythology is thanks to these guys and our simple brains trying to make sense of what we see over the course of the millennium. So let's see what else is going on. What else do we want to look at today? I don't think I had it. Like I said, I didn't have a super lot. I didn't have a huge show. So we're going to keep talking with everybody and see what they lead us to. We'll definitely want to look into the mammal bones. Thanks for sharing that. So everybody do that on their own for now. There is something there. I don't know what. It's very confusing. And again, going back in deep time is the best I can do with these things. And both the cultural evidence and the biological evidence is pointing towards, again, some sort of Genesis taxa, something that's been around for so long that our ancestors considered them ancestors, and that they've been around so long that they have a morphology that is just hundreds of millions of years ago. Okay, definitely. He says the insectoids especially are just unlike anything. Yeah, what really needs to be done is more genetic testing on those little ones. The tiny, I even hate calling them that because there's nothing really insect about them. The first thing I would look for to see if they're an insect is do they have 6 limbs? That's like my first thing. Second of all, they do have skeletons, and insects don't have skeletons, right? They have exoskeletons. So as much as I love theory and all his website and stuff, I feel like there's been a lot of missteps that we may be working backwards from as we move into the future here. Yes. So yes. What else? Oh yes, here's something I wanted to show. Let's take a look at this. So guys, what do you think about cryptobiosis? Now, I know that maybe all the evidence isn't quite there, right? But let's see if I can just share this from my control panel. How's everybody doing? This is Ed with the Constant Companion Theory. Please go to our website, tridactyls.com. We're still being charged for that silly store we have. So until people start buying, I guess, crazy amounts of t-shirts. I don't know. I'm not here to sell t-shirts, but definitely check out tridactyls.com. That's my website. And you can find the science papers where we sort of think about all this different morphology. How does it all tie in? Okay. I was trying to show you cryptobiosis. Is that what it's called? So that is basically that ability of an organism to essentially go into a deep stasis and perhaps live for an extended period of time. There we go. Can we go a little bigger? All right. So, is this something that these creatures go through? A metabolic state. Of course, the most famous one is probably the brine shrimp. So I can't explain it yet, but I have a feeling that maybe something is there. Here we go. Yeah, it's Jaime Maussan's birthday yesterday. Yeah, we're probably cousins. I do have family in Mexico City. Yeah, I do hope to meet these guys someday. It's true. It's gotten a little quiet, so I don't hear too much from them. So I just try to do my thing, which right now is pointing fingers at a deep time origin of these beings. I've barely even been touching the cultural stuff. But, I am going to be doing that next lecture at Nerd Night in Miami at Gramps. So that'll be my first live lecture. I think it's important to get in touch with real people and interact with them. And who knows, maybe even give away a tridactyl head. That would be sick, right? All right. So, yeah, let's consider the possibility that maybe these things can go into some sort of deep time stasis. I even suggested perhaps that diatomaceous earth isn't something that was applied to them. What if that is just their natural secretion? Perhaps it is from either putting some sort of salt water on them or something they ate or some sort of, I don't want to say parasitism, but sort of interplay of two species of maybe plankton and them. I don't know. But I just think that's just one of those things we should consider. We should consider that they're in a stasis and that perhaps that look of diatomaceous earth wasn't actually applied to them. Maybe that is just a natural occurrence that happens after their body completely dries out in that atmosphere and all the salt and whatnot is extracted from them. That is a guess. Obviously requires way more research. The tinier the science goes into microscopic areas, the least useful I am, I think. I'm better with the surface stuff. All right, what else? So, I don't know. I don't have a lot this week. I want to thank everyone for coming. I do want to give away a head, though. So let's get a roll going for this week. I think it's important I show up at 7, even if it's a short show, and even if I'm a little unenergized. I don't know, de-energized. I get more excited usually when we have like I found something new. So I guess it's been a slow week for discoveries, maybe. All right, let's see. Let's pull up our sheet too. We need our holy sheet of numbers. And we got to get your guys' new numbers for today, don't we, gentlemen? I'm assuming we're gentlemen. My fan base mostly male. You can imagine that's the way it goes. All right, so we need Gears and Universe to give us a new number. So, gentlemen, what will it be? I can't seem to find my control screen. Where'd it go? Sorry, guys, I'm a little... Am I still with you guys? There it is. Okay. I was thinking they were underwater and then it dried. Yeah, or maybe that again that these species is there so when there is a flood, if the waters get as high as the Andes, then that is when they come back to life and they know it's time to get to work. Perhaps it's something like that. So Gears and Uni, why don't you guys pick a number today? Let's see if you can see the screen. Share that. And so we can give away a tridactyl head. This is a Josephina head. It is approximately her size. I think it's a little smaller. This one you can see the straw still. So the straw is to let the heat out. It's real basic, but maybe you'll have fun painting it yourself. She's got a great little face on her. You can see the capa where the pineal gland is going to be. Supraorbital arches. So yeah, Gears and Universe. You guys want to give me a number? We will have a new giveaway. Anyone else out there watching? Give me a shout out. If you guys are in South Florida, you're in Miami, come see me at Gramps. We're going to go over some of these things again. Hopefully it'll be a fun show. Live is totally different. I'll be energized as well. I'll have to be, right? Because I'll be in front of a crowd of people. All right, well, they're trying to give me a number here. We can look at some other stuff. So the other things I've been researching recently is our possible Chinese origins. There's a lot of culture that comes from China that we tend to dismiss. We tend to look at everything myopically through a tiny little lens of the Holy Land and Rome, basically, maybe Alexander the Great. But we in the West really stick to Western history when there could be a lot more out there. All right, Gears has got 23 today. Look at all those gears everywhere. You see that? See your name everywhere? That's wild, huh? Yeah, we just mailed out 4 heads this week. Yeah, that's right. That is something I wanted to look at. The Chinese letter. Let's go ahead and look at that real quick. And I need a number from you, Uni, if you're going to go ahead and try to win a Josephina head today. So, here we go. Boom. So isn't this interesting? The Chinese radical or grapheme symbol, this is one of the earliest for heaven or for God, Tian, 1200 BC, looks like a tridactyl with the anomalous limbs. Those strange limbs that people say, like, how can they even use those? Perhaps they can if they are hydrostatic. Yeah, buddy. Wow. So, let's see if we've got another contestant here. You guys have any questions? If you're on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, I should see those questions and you can interact with me. So it's kind of cool because I'm interacting with Gears and Uni, and they're both on different platforms. Oh, look at that. Lockdown lucky number 24, which is interesting because he just went for 23. Okay. Universe, you are on there. You guys can see the people who've already won or who I just gave one to anyway. I gave one to Gonzalo from tridactyls.org. All right, here we go then. Let's pull up our dice roller on good old Roll20. There it is. Let's see, we have another quote here. Very cool. All right, here we go. We're rolling a D100 today. Let's see if we have a winner. Big number coming in at 89. 89. Who was 89? No 89. A tridactyl head does not have a home to this week. But you can see as we move on, people are going to start winning, I feel. We'll see how many of these we can give away. It all depends on how many I make. So that was fun. Yeah, so what can I be getting into this week as far as, well, I'm going to be making a slideshow. So I have to focus on the slideshow for Gramps. That's in Wynwood in Miami. Again, my first live lecture. I'll be sending the slideshow over to them, and from there they'll be able to upload it, and I'll be able to do a groovy live show. I hopefully will blow some people's minds, right? That's kind of my goal, is to blow people's minds with some of this imagery and let them know what we're dealing with here. And I think it's pretty safe to say we're dealing with once living organisms. I think it's pretty safe to say that they are some sort of proto-amphibian. I think it's safe to say that they have probably somehow been involved in this planet's evolution and are our tutelary beings of the past that taught mankind civilization. Wow. Good stuff. Thanks for watching. Live long and prosper. Watch our channels at Tridactyls, especially on X. Oh yeah, tridents. Yeah, I think when a god's holding a trident, it's saying that this is my hand. When a goddess is riding a tiger, or another god, a turtle, it's saying this is my lower body. That's what I'm suggesting. Awesome. Live long and prosper.